Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you.
Recognize the God in you.
Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too.
Loves you and I love you too.
Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
Every walk of life, every creed and color,
Every creed and color.
in kinship we unite,
Kinship we unite.
in honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, Namaste, I bow to you.
Namaste, I bow to you.
Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together.
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 We come together
In the name of love. We come together.
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 We come together
In the name of love. We come together.
We come together.
We come together. We come together. In the name of love.
I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one.
I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. We are opening up in sweet surrender, the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender, the luminous love light of the one. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening up in sweet surrender, the luminous love light of the one.
Yes. Good morning, Ahava Center for Spiritual Living. Let's give some love to this band, yes? Our music director, Joe Cinquina, on bass and vocals. Lauren Dechtenberg on keys and vocals, and our reading. And John Dittern on percussion. They are the Ahava Trio. Also, we have Mr. Jeff Watts on sound, making us all sound good. Ahava is the Hebrew word for love. And we gather together every Sunday knowing that love is
Always the answer.
You got it. I'm Reverend Rainbow, so pleased to serve as your spiritual director and want to give a special warm welcome to all of you who showed up on this cold spring morning in person. Thank you for being here, as well as those of you who are online. Thank you for being a part of our virtual community. Make sure to check in, say hello, good morning, like, click, subscribe, all those things. Spread the word. Also, if you are in the house, we encourage you to take out your phone, take pictures, videos throughout service. Spread the word so people know where the love is. Yes? Yes. We are a conscious community committed to curiosity so that we may provide a loving space to be reminded of the truth of who we are. So whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, know that you are absolutely welcome here. And if you are a guest for the first time, we want to give you some special love, knowing that your presence here makes a difference. Do we have anyone here for the first time? All you have to do is raise your hand. Welcome, yay! We have a flower for you and a little connection card, and we just invite you to, right down this hall to the right is our bookstore, and go in there, you'll get another special gift and find out some more about who we are. So Colleen's making her way to you to give you that welcome back there. All right, so we have an amazing reason for being here, yes? Which is our vision and our purpose. So I invite you now to take a moment first to turn to someone with your hands over your heart and say, thank you for being a reflection of me. Yes. And now I invite you to repeat after me our vision. We are an inclusive community. Committed to global transformation, through personal evolution. That's right. And our purpose is, let's do it together. Wake up, step up, and make a difference. That's right. And boy, did we have an opportunity to do that last night. Yes. So for those of you who may not know what we're referring to, if you notice there's a little extra sparkle in the seats tonight, that's because we hosted a fabulous drag show, and we were able to be featured on the news, and we're pulling that up. So let's show y'all now. Yeah, if you want to come over there, sir, or scooch back so you can see it.
For the love of drag. It's a celebration after a legislative session people at this drag show say attacked the drag and LGBTQ community.
It was very mentally stressing.
As a hurricane does, Katrina victim battled like a storm, producing a performance for all ages.
I'm glad that we have people who are in full support of wanting to not make these laws and regulations pass, and to the people that are fighting against it, there's bigger things that we need to be fighting.
The Ahava Center for Spiritual Living welcomed guests through their doors, offering a safe space for those in Kentucky. People waved their bills and cheered on the queens, all while giving back to the community.
And we'll be giving 10% of what comes in, also paying it forward to Camp Beacon, which is Kentucky's first LGBT teen camp, coming up this summer.
Rainbow isn't just the spiritual director at Ahava, but also a mother to a 7-year-old who says she's excited for the performance.
I really believe that we can come together as a community and celebrate, because joy is an act of resistance. Joy, coming together and standing in the truth of who we are, is so needed. It's the only way we will survive and to kind of keep the hope going. No matter what anyone else says.
Although SB 150 passed in the General Assembly, those at the show say they're going to continue to do what they love.
We're all about believing in ourselves, loving ourselves, being authentic.
In Lexington, Julia Sandor, WKYT.
Yes! Yes. So, feeling the love and the excitement, and there will be more opportunities we'll be sharing with you all to continue to advocate, because the work is not done by any means, and the specific bill they talked about there that was passed, most likely will be vetoed by the governor, but then will be given back to the legislator, and around the 29th, I believe, of March, So we will be sharing about how we can let our voice continue to be heard. All right, so today's affirmation, I will share it, and then we can all affirm it together. Sharing my boundaries builds bridges to authentically connect with others. Let's do it. Sharing my boundaries builds bridges to authentically connect with others. That's right. All right, so let us take a breath now. And we're going to move into our time of centering with our centering song. And our opening affirmative prayer this morning will be led by our practitioner, Patty Cooper.
In this place, my soul is free from the light within. I see all the joy, all the peace. Carry me. Carry me, carry me, oh, carry me. In this place, love abides, holy light, surrender me. All the joy, all the peace, carry me, carry me, carry me, oh, carry me.
Carry me into this amazing day, this place called Ahava, knowing that there is only one life, one energy, one source of everything. Today I know that one is peace. I know it is joy and order and freedom. And knowing that that is the truth of the one, I know it has to be the truth of me and each person here today. And I bless this day. I bless this service. I bless our musicians. I bless all the people who came here today to create this welcoming, warm place to be on a Sunday morning. I bless our minister, Reverend Rainbow. I bless all the wisdom and awareness that comes forth today for each person here. And I let it be by saying, and so it is.
All the joy, all the peace, carry me, carry me, carry me, oh, carry me. Today's reading is from This Thing Called You by Dr. Ernest Holmes. The desire you have to be something, to do something, is a mental echo in your mind of the spirit which already exists within you. It is an impact of your divine and spiritual self upon your mental or psychological self. It is the Spirit in you seeking an avenue of expression through you. It is the real self you would like to be, the deep spiritual self, having all knowledge, having access to all power, being one with life. It is a transcendent, triumphant self. So harness this self by saying, I know that I am one with God. I know that God in me is perfect. I know that my real nature is spiritual. I know that I exist in a boundless good, in a heavenly state, and in perfect being. I know that my mind is being acted upon by pure spirit. Divine intelligence guides me into peace, happiness, and success, into joy, love, and perfect life.
Gladly walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet, to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly every heart would understand that love and only love can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desires so that you might see. The first step is to realize that it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? When we stand together, it's our finest hour. We can do anything, anything. If we keep believing in our power. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Yes, I do. it's time? Don't you think it's time?
Feels good just to sing together, doesn't it? Like, oh, feeling the love. So thank you again for our amazing trio. Woo. So it is March, in case you didn't know. I'm still kind of confused. And our theme this month is Cultivating Authenticity, which is part of our year-long series about living out loud. So we get to explore the practice, because it truly is a practice of cultivating authenticity and living a life of integrity in order to express the fullness of who we are and who we are here to be in this world. So Brene Brown offers this definition as kind of the basis of authenticity that we are talking about. And she says, authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Yes. So it's not about becoming anything other than who we already are, but it does require a little bit of work, a little self-reflection to notice the ways in which we are putting up those barriers or blocks to revealing our authentic selves. And last week we talked about dropping the masks, right? This idea of mask or certain personas that we may put on that perhaps, may provide a little comfort or safety instead of revealing who we are. But there is so much power when we begin to recognize when we are wearing those masks and then can choose to be who we truly are, instead of showing up in these other ways, often to please those around us or somehow get approval or acceptance. So, I shared one of mine being this people-pleasing Patty, which Patty and I had some discussion about. I was like, I've had this, I named this persona well before I met you. And, so I encourage you all to look at what are some of your personas and maybe name them, Nervous Nellie, Strong Stanley, whatever it may be. So there's something about coming up with these fun names that can bring some humor, that can bring some levity to these topics that, sometimes could feel shameful, right? Or we could feel embarrassed or judge ourselves for ways that we are being inauthentic. But it's human nature. So practicing that level of self-awareness allows us then to release those patterns and masks and attitudes and thoughts and behaviors, all the ways that we act as barriers to our authentic self, and that keep us from standing in our truth and power. Ernest Holmes is the founder of the Science of Mind teaching, which is our core teaching here at Ahava, and he says, the divine pattern would be imperfect without you. Dare to be yourself. Stand in wonder before the majesty and might, the beauty and the power of the divine presence which seeks to express through your individual life. So I love how just bold Dr. Holmes is in reminding us to stand in the boldness of who we are, because we are truly that vessel for spirit to shine and to know itself more fully through each of us in a unique way. We are all worthy, powerful beings with so many unique gifts and talents to share with this world. And what a display we saw last night with those performers showing up in their authentic expression and revealing the artistry of drag. And if you missed it, don't worry, we will be doing it again. What last night showed us is that there is a need for a space outside of the bar scene for people to come together in all ages to celebrate and to experience this culture of drag. And it has very deep roots in Lexington as well. So I am just particularly honored to be able to provide that space to the Lexington community. So more to come, don't you worry. Yes. So, when we are living by other people's ideals or standards, when we are afraid to stand in our own power or worth based on all of these ideas outside of ourselves, we can start to forget who we are and get lost. Some of us may get lost in a particular relationship or job or caught up in some expectations of the world that is not authentic to who we are. So we have this opportunity now to wake up, to pay attention, and to notice where we are out of alignment with our authentic self-expression. And then from there, to do the work to really get back to who we are, to come home to ourselves and to ask ourselves what we value, what we love. And then that brings us to this week's topic around boundaries. Because once we know and discover this for ourselves, it's a whole other thing to begin to start to communicate that with others, to allow others to know the truth of who we are and how to be in relationship with us through how we communicate our needs and desires and expectations. And that's what we mean by boundaries. Right? Boundaries, this word has so many different meanings, and it can be seen as like a wall or a block or something like, I don't want boundaries because, I don't want to be separate from anything or anyone. That's not the kind of boundary we're talking about. We are talking about boundary as actually a doorway as opposed to a wall. A doorway that lets others know how to engage with us, a doorway to allow someone safely to enter our space and our inner circle where we can be vulnerable and authentic and share who we are. But we have to let people know. So boundaries are where we end and another begins. And in her book, Setting Boundaries Will Set You Free, author Nancy Levine says, boundaries are a limit that you set to define what you will or will not do, or what you will or will not accept or tolerate from others. So if you desire to express yourself authentically, then we have to become familiar with what we desire, what we do tolerate and allow into our space. And it's different for everyone. So we can't assume because the way we walk in the world and like to, communicate or like to how close we like to stand or how we like to be touched or any of those things, we can't assume that the way we walk through the world is how others walk through the world. There are 7, almost 8 billion now maybe, people in the world, and there's that many ways of walking on this planet. So having clarity about our boundaries empowers us to then know who we are and who we are to be in this world and how to relate to others. So we have to be able to communicate clearly a healthy boundary and to understand what that is in order to then hold others accountable. Because we can't expect others to honor our boundaries if we don't let them know. Something we say often here, no expectation without agreement. It's that same concept. and we may not always feel comfortable sharing our boundaries. It could feel perhaps selfish, or that we're being seen as being, difficult or annoying or too much or asking too much, or, perhaps even seen as unspiritual to have a boundary. And these are all the things that we have to start to deconstruct from our collective consciousness, these ideas that we have about boundaries, in order to know that it is still our responsibility to clearly know and communicate our boundaries in order to have a deeper, more intimate, healthy relationship. So letting others know also prevents us from being stepped on, right? It creates a bridge instead of a doormat or a block, and gives others that pathway, that clear understanding on how to connect with us. It also prevents others from stepping on any unexpected landmines that they didn't even know were there. By crossing boundaries they didn't even know were there. So this is why it is important to begin to look at this work of boundaries. And there are many resources. I always like to share, do the research, look up the podcast, get the books, and I'm happy to drop some links later for some of those, as well as the workshop this afternoon. We'll go into that. But from a spiritual perspective, the purpose of life is to express itself through us, yes? And as spiritual beings, we are all this individualization of the source energy with our own unique intentions and desires. So we all have unique boundaries, whether they be physical or mental, emotional, energetic, material. And when we live in the world, either with a lack of boundaries or this kind of very loose understanding of boundaries, it can unconsciously tell others that we don't hold anything sacred, right? That we are always at the whim of others' beings, that we exist just for their taking, and this can lead to, of course, resentment, anger, betrayal, all of those things. And everyone, I feel like there's kind of like a spectrum, like everything, it's so fluid, that some people, whether it be from, how they're raised, circumstances, or just something unique about their beingness or personality, range anywhere from this kind of like no boundaries, loose boundaries, to very rigid boundaries. And so for all of us to start to look at our lives and to notice where we are on the spectrum, and maybe with certain relationships or certain places we're really clear, maybe some places we're gotten a little too rigid because we've built up that resentment, so our boundaries are more of a wall. And are there places, or are there those of us that live more in this, I don't even know what I want or need because I've spent my whole life just saying yes and being accommodating and maintaining this nice people-pleasing persona. So this week, I've shared this before, like whatever the topic is, it like does a number on my life. So I've been really looking at, this, and it's become very clear how loose my boundaries are and how it can be scary for me to state that and to stand firm in that, because that was how I was raised and never taught, I didn't have it modeled to me that it's okay to say no, period, without an explanation, without a da-da-da-da-da, and that doesn't mean that I am being mean, and it's like, yeah, I can get this intellectually, but then I start to really look at my behaviors or certain things and notice how ingrained it is, when somebody asks me something, it's that instant, like, yeah, sure. And then it may be like days later where I realize, like, why did I say yes to that? So it's getting to that point of awareness to just pause and state the boundary, like, let me think about that, or let me get back to you. Or get to the point where eventually I can feel in my body in that moment, like, is this a yes or is this a no? And to stand firm in that, because it all really comes back to our own self-worth and self-value. Like, do I value myself enough to honor my time, to honor my boundaries and my body and my mental space and my energy? I was joking with a friend. I texted her a couple days ago, and then she wrote me back, I think yesterday, sorry, I didn't get back to you just yet. I was, doing this show or whatever. And she's an Irish dancer, which is super cool. So obviously, St. Patrick's Day was a thing. And then I wrote back, I was like, oh, no worries. I am hosting a drag show, preparing to run a service in the morning, work on a talk, and lead a workshop on boundaries. Obviously, I need to look at perhaps my boundaries with my time. Not to mention, I'll talk about it later, but the class that was supposed to start, we postponed it. Look, grace and space, right? Giving myself some of that grace and space to push that off another week. Anyway, so I'm just saying that I'm letting you into the doorway of my life, right? That, as a spiritual leader, that doesn't mean that I am somehow floating through this world untouched. And, also to just be like, I may stumble through it, but I'm going to be working on setting some more boundaries, especially, with my time and energy. And so for all of us, and I just have to say one more thing, it seems like, at least in my experience, that those of us with more loose boundaries often are attracted to those with more rigid boundaries as a wonderful learning opportunity. Does anyone else notice that? And perhaps if you're the rigid or the more comfortable saying no, you're like, why does this person just tell me what they want, right? So, and for most of you who know my wife, Heather, if you've had any, interactions with her, you will see, like, she is so firm on clear on what she needs to, say no to. And I'm like, wow. So anyway, just another little antidote there. So we need to communicate our boundaries because, unfortunately, people can't read our minds. Even people that we have known and been in intimate relationship for 20 years. We can't make the assumption that everyone knows me, so they should know this about me. And it doesn't absolve us from the responsibility to continue to communicate our boundaries. And guess what? They may change because we are always growing. It is the nature of life expressing through us to always be evolving and growing. So, as frustrating as it may be sometimes, we have to take the time to reevaluate our boundaries, and perhaps we will have a new boundary, requested from someone we loved that has changed. And how do we be willing to be accepting and compassionate of that for others and ourselves? And it gives the opportunity to practice courage and vulnerability and self-love as we stand in our power and our authenticity, yes? To know that sharing who we are is a gift, and sharing our boundaries, or if it helps you to think of them as our needs or our desires or our wants, really gives others the opportunity to connect with us on a deeper way. Taking time to familiarize ourselves, to get to know what our limits are, what are our non-negotiables. This is a practice in self-discovery and self-awareness. And then once you know what you value, you can begin to then communicate and create those healthy boundaries. So, what can get in our way from doing this essentially is years of, outside messaging or practice or, just patterns of how we have communicated. And it really is a communication style that we can wake up to and to check in with ourselves to begin to embrace a more authentic, vulnerable way of communicating with love and with kindness, knowing that what we desire is to love and be loved, to be seen, to be known, to be heard. And it's up to us to teach people how to treat us. Yes? Brene Brown in The Gifts and Imperfections says, when we fail to set boundaries and hold people accountable, we feel used or mistreated. And this is why we sometimes attack those this is why sometimes attack, this is why we sometimes attack, here we go, sorry. Woo, I didn't sleep much after last night, y'all. I'm running on some steam, but it's happening. Okay, I can read. This is why we sometimes attack who they are, which is far more hurtful than addressing a behavior or a choice. So I'm going to read all that again. When we fail to set boundaries and hold people accountable, we feel used and mistreated. And this is why we sometimes attack who they are, which is far more hurtful than addressing the actual behavior or the choice. So we can begin to separate people's actions and behaviors from like the essence of their being for ourselves and others. This is an act of compassion, an act of grace, and it removes the shame and judgment out of that relationship, whether it be with ourselves or others. So what I want you to leave today with is simple. No is a complete sentence. Right? Knowing our values and our limits empowers us to live in alignment with them, to be able to say yes to our yeses, and to be able to hold firm in our sacred no's. And to create that loving path or doorway to allow people in to experience a deeper, more intimate connection with us. We don't have to add all the story, all the fluff around our no. We can simply say no, not now, whatever it may be. So I'm working on that, y'all, because, it's a different way of communicating. And, what happens when we begin to say yes when we mean no, we're compromising again ourselves in order to please or comfort someone else. So honoring our boundaries is an act of self-love, and it's when we get to say yes to honoring and loving who we are, and to teach people how to treat us by sharing and communicating what our boundaries are. So it's time to uncover our personal boundaries in order to embrace the fullness of who you are through compassionate self-inquiry, perhaps journaling, meditation, working with a spiritual practitioner or a spiritual coach to get clear on your values, your desires, your boundaries, and to get a clearer picture of what really matters to you uniquely in your life. Authenticity is a practice, but we can start right now to begin again, to begin anew, forgiving ourselves from anything in the past, releasing the shame and judgment, and embracing the love and full acceptance of who we are. Loving ourselves and others, to be brave enough to say, this is what I will, and this is what I will not do or tolerate. This builds bridges of connections, and it is how we get to live out loud. Yes? All right, let's take it into prayer. So let's just begin by taking that nice deep breath. And checking in with our physical body in this moment. Noticing any sensations, hot spots, cold spots, itching, aching, tingling. Connecting with our physical body such that we can begin to recognize and listen for what it needs. As well as then moving into this awareness of our emotional or feeling state. Are we feeling tender, open, vulnerable? Are we feeling rigid, scared, angry? Simply noticing without judgment, but becoming aware of what our feelings may indicate about our needs and desires, our boundaries, where they have or have not been perhaps communicated, where they have or have not been shared and honored. And taking a moment to check in with our thoughts. Are we ruminating on something? Are we feeling a resistance or a judgment to something that is occurring, as opposed to simply noticing it is what it is? Where are our thoughts leading us to do the work on honoring our needs and desires? So taking another deep breath. This simple practice is one that we can begin to integrate into our lives, moment by moment, day by day, as needed. Checking in, becoming aware. So again, we breathe now. Clearing, releasing. Allowing the breath to bring us into this now present moment, where we know and recognize the one life that is love, that is peace, that is joy, that is harmony, that is clarity. This one life that is the very essence and nature of the universe, that which some call God, Spirit, life. It is who I am. It is the very essence and nature and truth of each and every being. And as this is true for each of us, we can stand in the power and the awareness and the clarity and the joy and the beauty of life expressing itself in, as, and through us. For what is true of spirit must be true of us, for it is who we are. So I affirm right here, right now, speaking in the I on behalf of all of us, that I am willing to speak my sacred no. I am willing to clearly communicate my needs and wants and desires. I embrace clarity and self-awareness, self-love, and self-worth to stand in the wholeness and integrity of my being. I am clear. I know who I am. I know what is mine to do. I know what I need and want and desire in order to express the fullness of who I am in this wonderful world in relationship with others. To stand firmly in my unique power and presence, and to open that door to invite people lovingly into my heart, releasing shame and judgment and fear and doubt and unworthiness, and standing and claiming and knowing self-love, unconditional love is who I am. I am worthy, I am whole, I am complete, I am clear, I am free. I am joy personified. Yes, and for this I am grateful, so grateful to know that this word is done as I release it into the universe, the law of the universe that always says, yes, 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 my beloved, it is done. It is so. And so it is. And so it is. Yes.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love.
Now, before you sit down, I invite you to turn to someone near you and say, I clearly articulate my boundaries. Say it like you mean it. And for some, that may be a true statement, and for some, that may be an ideal. But that's what we do, right? We affirm, and then we grow into that. All right. So now we get to move into our time of conscious giving, where we get to participate in the reciprocal nature of the universe, knowing that as we give, we are extending our love and our energy into the universe and telling it what we are and what we desire, so that this reciprocal nature can return to us multiplied, knowing that as we give, we receive, whether that be love and joy. What we put out, we open to receive. Yes? So right now we are going to pass the basket so you can share of this thing called money, that is energy flowing in and out of our lives. And you can also give online. You can go to our website and click the give button. You can text the word give to 859-209-6996. You can also continue to mail in your gifts. So thank you for everyone who contributes to allow this community to thrive. And now we get to affirm together. I invite you to repeat after me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I joyously contribute to the vision of Ahava, knowing it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. We have some things going on to engage with Ahava outside of our Sunday morning service. Next Sunday is our Engage with Ahava online tech support. And we are going to invite you to bring your devices, your laptop, your phone, tablets, however you mostly engage online. Most likely you don't want to pack up your whole desktop. But if you want to, you can. And we're going to be sharing different ways that you can, do social media, that you can get connected with that through our database, that you can understand how to sign up to volunteer, and a myriad of things that all involve technology. And then we have folks that are tech savvy to help those that may be like, I don't even see what you're talking about. We can click it for you and set it up, and so you get all the things, notifications, however you desire. So that is next Sunday, and next Sunday is also the last Sunday of the month, so it means it is Potluck Sunday. So bring a dish. We will eat, get fuel, and then talk about tech. Okay. Also, next month we are going to be doing another book study on The Gifts of Imperfection, the book by Brene Brown, as we dive into next month's topic on vulnerability. So again, we're just taking it a step deeper every month. This book study, Reverend Cynthia will be offering after service, and it will be on a drop-in basis. So you can, if you're able to come to one or two, that's fine. You don't have to commit to the whole thing. If you're here and you get inspired, just show up when you can. And it will be also hybrid, just like the last one, so you can be online or in person. And Nancy, are those books in yet, or they're coming? Oh, great. So we have the books available in our bookstore, too, if you want to go ahead and pick that up. And that will be every Sunday except April 9th, which is Easter Sunday, so we will not be meeting after service that Sunday. But we will be having our new tradition, our annual hat parade. So we encourage you to wear bonnets and hats and give Karen some love so she's not the only one sharing a beautiful bonnet that Sunday. She is our last year was our host and judge, and we'll talk about to see if she's available this year or not. All right. Also, open mic night, April 20th. There's a sign up, more information out there. It's going to be super fun. Talent, show us your talent, and let's come together and celebrate. Another thing that you may see some signs about as well is we are looking to share our space more outside of the times that we use it. And this will be a great way to support other people that share our values in the community that are looking for space, to bring some more donations and revenue into Ahava and create some more wonderful partnerships in the community. So if you know of anyone, if you personally are looking for a space, anything from coming in to do some online, co-working, if you're looking for a quiet space for that, if you do coaching or need a private space, we have everything from small, intimate spaces, classrooms, to this large sanctuary. So let's spread the word on behalf of our community, and you can talk with Mike Merchant as well for more details about that. So much going on. As I mentioned, the class we postponed it so you can still sign up for Spiritual Principles and Practices. It is one of our foundational classes to really dive deep into some of our practices, such as affirmations and goals and affirmative prayer. So if you are interested in that, there's a sign up in the hall as well, and that will be offered hybrid. So online, anyone around the world, you're welcome to join those of us who will be gathering in person as well. And we have some exciting things coming up around fundraising as well. So I'm going to invite up Core Council President Ron Eisen, and he's going to have an invitation for us. Yes, thank you. Yeah, there you go.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. During the annual meeting, if you didn't know, I was elected president, and the first job that I have as being president this year is head of fundraising, and we've got a lot of different things that we're coming up with. One of the things that I wanted to bring out is that this involves all of you, and I would like to hear from you about your ideas on fundraising. So get in touch with me, give me a call. I'll give you my number. And anyone online, if you have any ideas about new ideas or personally want to contribute, please contact me, and we can work something out and work out any new ideas and ways that you would like to do that. I talked about last night. I'll be honest with everyone. Talking with my wife Nancy, I had some reservations about last night, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was kind of amazed when it came right down to it, and happy as how everything turned out. Mm-hmm. Our children are precious. And I do want to be there for them. Mm-hmm. And I was pleasantly surprised. I was happy to see how this could happen, and it was absolutely family friendly for all. Mm-hmm. So with the fundraising, with our trailblazing minister, who is trailblazing very well. We are in a new space and a new time, and I thank you for being here, and thank you for being part of Ahava. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Yes. Yeah, so as he said, don't be afraid to bring any idea, even as bold as a drag show. A family-friendly drag show, because it was extremely successful. Also, keep an eye out this week online. We are kicking off a fundraiser that is a virtual fundraiser selling popcorn. And there will be several of us that will be starting to post that. It opens up tomorrow. It's just like 4 days long. And half of the money comes back to Ahava. All you have to do is click a link, order your popcorn. The company sends it to you. It's really good. I've already tried it out. And it's another way to support Ahava and share the love. Okay, so I know that was a lot. Let us take a breath. I appreciate your time and attention. And yes, so today, thank you, that was a lot. So today we have a Boundaries workshop. And if you're interested after service, please let me know, because I only had a couple people pre-sign up. And if there's just going to be a few of us, we can provide space and grace and reschedule another time or do it online. I'm flexible, but I think it's very important, but it will be best if we have, more people, because it's very interactive and role-playing and all of that good stuff. So let me know. I would like to do it today, but if I don't, hear from a handful of you that you're staying, we'll do it again another time. So now let's have some more music. Yes.
I gotta slow down, stop for a second, take a look around. I gotta take time to hear that little voice inside saying you
spread your wings and fly. I've got a secret to share. You are enough to change the atmosphere. So go and do life big. Big. I want to do life big. Big. Break out them blue skies. Feel my heart beating inside. Yeah, it's like a new day to hear that little voice inside saying you were given life. So spread your wings and fly. Now go and show no fear. You are enough to change the atmosphere. So go and do life big. You're a shining star, wonderful, just the way you are. We celebrate your sacred face. We love you just the way you are. We love you just the way you are. We do.
Good morning, afternoon, everybody. We had a light day today, but we had a lot of fun, and the kids are going to share with you our affirmation and what we did.
I can stay calm.
I can stay calm.
We read a book called The Calm Down Trick.
And what was one of the tricks that you learned from that story?
Hiss breathing.
You want to do an example? Hiss it out, get all of your stress, maybe anger, whatever those feelings you're feeling, and it just kind of dissipates. So hiss breathing is something we practiced. Cadence, what was our project?
We made stress balls so we would put beads in a balloon and then put another balloon on it, or you could do 3 balloons.
Yeah, so it won't break and pop all over. Oiza? No. Yeah. Very clear, Oiza. Good job. So thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day. Practice staying calm as you're practicing your boundaries.
Yes. Thank you. All right, a reminder that practitioners are available to pray with you. You can, we have Patty today. We just ask that you wear a mask if you're going to get in-person prayer, or you can fill out a prayer in the prayer box or online as well. Now, let us please stand if you're able and affirm together after me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
It's this thing called life.
It's this thing called life.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my boundaries. I accept it. I am it. I share it. Just the way it appears. And just the way it appears not. Thank you, life.
Let me live in a holy, holy way.
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 Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me love 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 in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
I want to thank everyone for coming out today in person, and also hello to those watching online. We know you're there. You know where we live. You know where to find us, so we'll see you next week. We do have the talent show coming up. We do have one boundary for that talent show. There will be no bird acts.